Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to look at my Sidisi Brood Tyrant deck. I did have, my eye on a Sultai Commander I wanted to make, but I came across this one and it looked too fun not to make. And it was also incredibly cheap as well. So let's just get right into it. Basically what it does is when they enter or attack, mill 3, and then during your turn, or whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, you put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. So, really funny, and let's just get right into it. Eye Collector, really good in this deck. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, each player mills a card. Death, Bonnet, Sprout, beginning your upkeep, mill a card. And then if there are 3 or more creature cards in the graveyard, it transforms into a 3/3, a giant shroom basically. Land of Elves, Faithful. This just recurs something out of the grave for you. Birds of Paradise. Maverick, basically when he enters you surveil 2, and then you can exile it later to put a counter on a creature if you want to. Stitcher Supplier, obviously this needs to be in here. This card was expensive for a while and I don't know why, but maybe it got reprinted. Dream Thief, when it enters you surveil 1, then has a graveyard effect where you can exile it, draw a card. Blood Pet, Fester Leech. This card is really good actually. So whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you mill 2. And then Merfolk, Secret Keeper. It just mills 4, but it's also a creature, so didn't seem too bad. Satyr Wayfinder, when he enters, you mill 4 and you put a land from among them into your hand, so he's pretty good. I'm not sure how you say that, but I just think of this as a mana dork. Then we have Vile Spawn Spider. Beating upkeep, mill a card, and then you can sack it later to create 1/1, bunch of 1/1s basically for how many creatures are in your graveyard. So that's pretty funny. Siege Ship Brood Tender. He has Brood in the name, so it's an auto include, obviously. It's just an insane card. When it enters, you mill 3, and then you sack it, and then return for 5, and return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Blanchwood Prowler, enters, and then you mill 3, and you get a land. Emperor Bones, obviously. Shaman basically enters, you mill 3, and then you put a land back on top of your library, but sometimes I don't want to do that. Ornithopter Paradise, obviously. Bonecaller Cleric, you can reanimate something out of the grave. Pixie, it ramps. This guy ramps. This card's insane. Basically, you just tap it, add 1 colorless, and you mill a card. It is good for this deck because it's just another commander trigger. Ramp. Boneyard Worm. Power and toughness equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So obviously this is easily on any given, at any point in the game can range from, a 10/10 to a 20/20. It's so funny. 2 mana 20/20. Town Greeter, goodness. Mill 4, put a land into your hand. This mills 4. When it dies, you put the land back in your hand from your grave. Paradise Druid, obviously. Mill 3, put a land into your hand. This guy ramps. This card recurs. You get a creature card, put it back into your hand when he enters. Reclamation Sage. Gyre Engineer, ramps. Okay, this is really funny. So this card not only helps your engine out, but he also gets insanely huge by with this deck. So yeah, and it also has trample for some reason. Because why not? Gorging Vulture enters, you mill 4, but you can gain a life for each creature milled that way, but don't really care about the gaining life. Eternal Witness, return target card from your river to your hand. Eerie Soul Tender, mill 3, and then you can exile it later out of your grave for 5 mana and get a creature out. Goodness, there's a lot of recursion. So Twilight Diviner, this card is so good. This card is probably $8, I think, but it's really good. Basically, when one or more other creatures enter, if they enter from a graveyard or were cast from a graveyard, to create a token of them. Triggers only once each turn. So still pretty good. Mill 3, return land from graveyard to hand. There's a lot of those in here. Goodness. Soul Coil Viper. This, you sack it and you get a creature out of the grave. Pothole Mole. Goodness. Quite the name. Mill 3, put a land into your hand. I'm getting tired of saying that. Okay, Fell Horseman. He recurs stuff out of your graveyard and he's a creature. He's 2 mana though on that effect, so it's, you know, it's not bad. Mold Graph Millipede. Enters, you mill 3 and then gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. So obviously gonna be pretty big. Mystic Snake. We don't have a whole lot of access to counter magic in the deck because obviously they're all creatures. There are other options. There's a 3 mana guy, but he's okay. Snapcaster Mage is pretty funny as well, but I don't think he would work in this deck. Just forget I said that. Basically, we rely on creatures to counter the spells. So Mystic Snake. This elf returns permanent card from your graveyard to your hand when it enters. Fangkeeper's Familiar has 3 effects, and they're all, or 4, well, 4 of 3 effects, and they're all really good. And they're all ATBs. It counters creature spells. This mills 3, and then you may put, and then it gets green mana. You can, basically it's a mana dork, and you tap it equal to its power. Urtai is resurrected. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Moon, Vigil, Inherent, or whatever. Gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. You control and in your grave, so why not, right? Because if you have 50,000 zombies, you also have, you know, 50,000 cards in the graveyard, so, and it has trample. So that can kill someone pretty quickly. Kuryu Goldkeeper or something. Basically, this card is so good in this deck. It has, basically, whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard during your turn, create a treasure token. So, obviously, that's insane in this deck. Renew. Exile this card from your grave, put 2 counters on and a flying counter on target creature. So, yeah, really good. Obviously, Sir Conrad. Nothing else needs to be said about that. Corpse Connoisseur, Unearth, and Entombs a creature. Phyrexian Delver, obviously. This card is really good. And when it first came out, it was like $20, $30, and now it definitely dropped off in price. I picked it up for like $2. Mill 5, then you return all lands from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Till end of turn, you can buff a creature based on how many lands you have. We have Revenant. Okay, straight to the point. Flying, power toughness, each of them equals the number of creature cards in your graveyard. This card's really good. Enters or attacks Surveil 2. And then beginning end step, you can pay 8 mana. Exile 8 cards from your graveyard, which you probably are going to have. And then you get it. Basically, it flips into an extra turn card. So it's a 7/7 as well with Menace. I actually low-key kind of wanted to make this as a commander, but I think it's just better in the 99 with a lot of decks. Dreadhound. Uh, insane card. Basically Sir Conrad a little bit. Giant. This just straight up kills someone in the game. Like, just one person, which makes it even funnier. It has Undergrowth. Basically deals 1 damage to target opponent for each creature in your graveyard. And then this is Colossal Badger. It can buff a creature by milling 4 and putting that many counters on it for each creature that was milled that way. So, and it's also a creature. I might cut this card out, but it's all right for now. Okay, so let's now get to the non-creature spells. Not a whole lot. All right, basically the deck is just making a lot of zombies and milling yourself. Mainly the milling and the graveyard effects is what it's based on, and then the zombies are kind of like an afterthought, really. If it didn't even make zombies, this deck would still be pretty good, which is pretty funny. But there's one combo in the deck, and it can completely whiff, which is really funny. So let's get right into it. Captain's Locker. You could take this out. It has a till end of turn each creature. You just have to tap for it. Till end of turn each creature card in graveyard gains escape. And you exile 4 cards from your graveyard to cast it for its escape cost. So obviously, pretty good. Season of Loss. This will kill everybody if you can cast it about mid-game, because each opponent loses X life, or X the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So if you have, 25 or 30, which is honestly pretty doable, that's just game, pretty much. And then you can make people sack or whatever else you need to do with that. This card is only here for another reanimation spell that you can cast from your graveyard. Another card I want to get is Dread Return, but I'm playing in another deck right now, so I might pick another one up soon. It would be insane in this deck. Okay, Diagraph Rebirth as Flashback, and it's also a Pringle, so whatever that's worth. You just reanimate something basically with it. All right, Altar of Dementia. This card is really funny, and it's also really expensive, but you don't have to play it in this. You can just play it as is, and the deck is fine. It's only here because it has a really funny combo. So basically, you just need these 2 cards on the board and a zombie. And we have a lot of creatures in the deck anyway. So you sack the creature, and you target yourself, and you mill 2, and then you get another zombie. And then you just keep milling, because we're probably going to hit zombies each time and keep triggering this. So you just mill yourself out, basically. Now, you could be boring and lame and cast like Thassa's or something off this. But the main thing that I'm going to be doing with it is, if I can find it, is basically, Dreadhound or Sir Conrad. As long as they're on the board and you're doing this with, and you could totally whiff and get like 2 lands, but it could happen, which is fine. But then you can just sack some other creature if you have it. But basically, people are gonna lose life every time a creature is milled. So, and you just keep making the zombies. So, yeah, that is the only combo in the deck, and it's not really even necessary most of the time. But that's the whole deck.